Welcome back to PHP Interview Questions Part 2. In this part we cover 10 more advanced PHP questions that are commonly asked in mid-level and senior PHP developer interviews. Q11. What is the difference between get and post methods in PHP? Get sends data through the URL as query parameters. It is visible in the browser address bar and is limited in size, usually around 2000 characters. Post sends data in the HTTP request body. It is not visible in the URL and has no practical size limit, making it suitable for forms and file uploads. A. Use get for reading data and bookmarkable URLs. Use post for submitting forms, sending sensitive data, and file uploads. Never use get for passwords or payment data. Get vs post in PHP. Q12. What is session and cookie management in PHP? A cookie is a small file stored on the client browser. It persists across browser sessions and is sent with every HTTP request to the server. A session stores data on the server. PHP creates a unique session ID stored in a cookie on the client. The actual data never leaves the server, making sessions more secure. A. Use cookies for non-sensitive preferences like language and theme. Use sessions for authentication state and sensitive user data. Always set secure and HTTP-only flags on cookies. Sessions and cookies in PHP. Q13. What is PHP namespacing and why is it important? Without namespaces, two libraries defining a class with the same name like logger would cause a fatal error. You cannot have two classes with identical names in the global scope. Namespaces act like folders for your PHP code. Each library lives in its own namespace, so class names no longer conflict, even if they are identical. A. Always use namespaces in modern PHP. They are required by PSR4 autoloading, and every serious framework like Laravel and Symfony relies on them. PHP namespaces and use keyword. Q14. What is Composer and PSR4 autoloading? Before Composer, PHP developers had to manually require every file they needed. Managing dependencies and keeping them updated was a painful manual process. Composer is the PHP dependency manager. It downloads and manages third-party packages and generates an autoloader that automatically loads any class when it is first used, following the PSR4 standard. A. PSR4 maps a namespace to a directory. The class app, services, user service must live at src/services/userservice.php. Composer reads Composer, JSON and generates vendor/autoload.php automatically. Composer and PSR4 autoloading. Q15. What are closures and anonymous functions in PHP? A closure is an anonymous function that can capture variables from the surrounding scope. It can be stored in a variable, passed as an argument, or returned from another function. PHP closures use the use keyword to import variables from the outer scope. Arrow functions introduced in 7 Philippine pesos and 40 centavos capture the outer scope automatically. A. Closures are essential for callbacks. Array functions like array_map and array_filter, and event-driven code. Arrow functions are the modern shorthand for simple one-line closures. Closures and arrow functions. Q16. What is the difference between echo, print, var_dump and print_r? Echo and print both output strings. Echo is slightly faster and can take multiple arguments. Print always returns one, so it can be used in expressions. Var_dump shows the type and value of a variable, including nested structures. It is the best debugging tool. Print_r shows human-readable output but without type information. A. Use echo for normal output. Use var_dump when debugging to see exact types and values. Use print_r when you need a readable array or object dump. Never leave var_dump in production code. Echo vs print vs var_dump vs print_r. Q17. How does error handling work in PHP using try, catch and custom exceptions? PHP throws exception objects when errors occur. You wrap risky code in a try block. If an exception is thrown, PHP jumps to the matching catch block. The finally block always runs whether or not an exception occurred. You can create custom exception classes by extending the base exception class. This lets you catch specific error types and handle them differently. A. Always catch specific exceptions before the generic exception. Use finally to release resources like database connections. Never use empty catch blocks that silently swallow errors. Try catch finally in custom exceptions. Q18. What are 8 Philippine pesos match expressions and named arguments? The match expression is a modern replacement for switch. Unlike switch, match uses strict comparison, does not fall through between cases, and always returns a value. Named arguments let you pass function parameters by name instead of position. This makes code more readable and allows you to skip optional parameters. A. Prefer match over switch in 8 Philippine pesos projects. Use named arguments when calling functions with many optional parameters to make the intent clear. Without remembering argument order. 8 Philippine pesos match expression and named arguments. Q19. What are PHP interfaces and how do you use them for dependency injection? An interface defines a contract. Any class that implements the interface must provide all the methods declared in it. The interface itself contains no logic. Dependency injection means passing dependencies into a class rather than creating them inside. When you type hint an interface instead of a concrete class, you can swap implementations easily. A. Code to interfaces, not implementations. This is the foundation of testable and maintainable PHP. In tests you inject a mock. In production you inject the real class. The service never knows the difference. Interface with dependency injection. Q20. What are 8 Philippine pesos fibers and how are they different from coroutines? Fibers are a low-level concurrency primitive introduced in 8 Philippine pesos and 10 centavos. A fiber is a function that can pause its own execution and hand control back to the caller. Then resume exactly where it left off. Unlike async await, which is framework level, fibers are built into the PHP core. They are the foundation that frameworks like React PHP and Revolt use to build async event loops. A. Fibers allow cooperative multitasking in PHP. One fiber runs, pauses with fiber suspend, another runs, then the first resumes. This enables non-blocking I/O without threads. Most developers use them via frameworks rather than directly. 8 Philippine pesos and 10 centavos fibers. That wraps up PHP Interview Questions Part 2. We covered sessions, namespaces, composer, closures, error handling, 8 Philippine pesos features, interfaces, dependency injection, and fibers. Like and subscribe so you never miss Part 3 coming very soon. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video on top 20 Philippine pesos logical questions every developer should know Part 2. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss the next part. Drop your answer in the comments below and see you in the next video.
Here is your knowledge check question. Which PHP feature allows a class to use multiple code blocks without inheritance? Drop your answer in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for part 2. See you in the next video.